All right, I think we are live. I think I got to get it set up on Instagram real quick. For some reason, it's not wanting to go. Come on, buddy. Or maybe we won't have it. I think we got somebody on you. Oh, here we go. Go live. All right, we're good. Hey, how's everybody doing today? This is Ben from End of the World News. This is our Everything is Fake Live, and I got an awesome I guess, co-host or guest on this episode right here. This is Andrew from 6G Agenda. Why don't you tell everybody about yourself and where they can find you?
Oh, yeah. Andrew from 6G Agenda, has been said. And you can find me everywhere, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your stuff. If you want the video ad-free version, you go to YouTube and or Patreon. Otherwise, yeah, just hanging out, trying to figure out what's going on in the world with everybody else.
Hey, awesome. Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat, Neff Hunter, all the guys on Instagram. Put up some comments, what you guys think we're talking about. We'll bring them up and talk about them. But, it's really wild. And thank you for tuning in, right? Shout out to all the people who tune in to both of our podcasts and shows. We really appreciate that.
Definitely.
But always. It's wild. I've been talking about this manufacturing of prophecy for the past 2 or 3 years, just shouting it from the rooftop, whoever would listen. And what I mean is in my Uber and on all the podcasts who had me on there, to talk about this stuff. And it's truly incredible. Now watching guys like Tucker Carlson, who's definitely connected to the CIA Project Mockingbird asset, start exposing Shabbat's plans. And it's not just Shabbat, they're just a piece of the puzzle to the public consciousness. And, that's the difference between the mainstream alternative media and conspiracy theorists, right? So conspiracy theorists ask why. Why is Tucker Carlson, an intelligence operator, exposing the secrets? Why are the elites exposing themselves instead of just reacting? And it's truly crazy to watch it unfold. So what's your take on everything that's going on right now with this manufacturing of prophecy?
Yeah. I mean, you've definitely been on the mark for a while, coming on my show, talking about that, helping me see what was going on as it was going on, helping me put together what's going on as well with the why. You know what's funny about that, though? Tucker also is posing as a why asker. You know what I mean? And I think that's why it works so well is, I watch almost every episode he puts out simply because it really helps me get a pulse of like where we're going. Because you're exactly right. I think that people like that are leading the public, the masses, normies, whatever you call them, into this, this Overton window. They follow it. You know what I mean? They go along with it. And so I'd like to see what's coming down the pike and how far, where we're at. It gives me a temperature where things are. It's very wild.
Yeah, when you understand the prophecy that they're trying to manufacture, all the behavior of all these players start to make sense. Because when you understand that it's the nation, what they want are the nations or the people to turn against Israel and the people of Israel that will kick off this last 7 years. And why do you think the elite are exposing themselves? Why do you think that the IDF is going into Gaza despite public opinion and just bulldozing it? Why do you think Tucker Carlson is exposing the fact that they're doing this to build their third temple? It's because they want everybody, as this happens, to turn on them. And that's exactly what's happening.
Exactly. And I'm sure that you probably didn't get a chance to watch the most recent episode with Tucker Carlson and Brett Weinstein, right? And they're
Brett Weinstein.
Literally everything that just came out of your mouth in that one sentence is the whole episode that they did together. They said, if you didn't want anti-Semitism, then you wouldn't do the things you're doing. And they're saying that, like, it seems like they want people to be right. So it's everything that you're talking about is now coming into the mainstream. So they're coming out and talking about exactly what you're saying. So to your point, yes, you've been on point for a while, and now everybody, it's coming out. So it's very funny to watch. It's actually wild to watch.
It's interesting with that Weinstein guy. You know who his brother is? Eric Weinstein,
hung out with
literally
Epstein,
works for Peter Thiel.
Really? Yeah.
Oh,
and he
he's
knew
got
Epstein, and yeah.
Oh, huge employee of Peter Thiel. Very high up in his businesses. And then they had the whole what's that? The intellectual dark web all over YouTube. This, false great awakening that they were all pushing. And,
Oh
let's
man,
not
yeah.
forget Brett, at the very beginning of COVID, he was pushing all the fear.
Yes.
He was, exposing what was going on with a mask on his face inside his room with nobody around. And if you want to know who's part of the agenda, go back to all the major influencers, go back to all the major players. Whoever pushed the Cooties 19 agenda is part of the system. I'm sorry. And we allow this word magic, and that's what it is, right? This is all word magic coming out of the influencer industrial complex. And it's like it creates amnesia. And we forget what these people did their entire careers leading up to this. And this is all one big magic trick.
Exactly. The tech bros did the same thing, and it's funny. You're exactly right. All they have to do is say, "Oh, I just realized that I was wrong, and I was just So I came to the light, and now they're just espousing this dark, awakening." And you're exactly right. Curtis Yarvin calls it the dark enlightenment, and that's exactly what I think that they're trying to create purposely. Which is where people get this false idea of like understanding, like they think that they have a better understanding of reality because they're getting all this disclosure and exposure, but really it's just all psyops and manipulation into whatever their agenda is.
Yeah, I think we're watching a controlled transition / demolition into this one world technocratic AI driven society that they want to usher in. And they're using political Zionism, in my opinion, to collapse the entire system. So then these technocrats, which is also connected to Zionism, but it's also connected to the Bilderberg group. There's technocrats in every single country, right? I mean, China's pushing the entire beast system agenda before they're unrolling it to the rest of the the rest of America, the world, right?
Right.
They're all part of it, and you see exactly what they're doing. And another thing about this war, what's going on is they are really muddying up the waters. I mean, I go on social media and I still don't know what's happening. I don't know how much damage is done to Israel. I don't know how much damage is done to Iran. I know at both sides of this false dialect of this good versus bad paradigm is saying, but who knows how much is real? How much is AI slop? And another crazy thing, and we're going to watch this video real quick and then I'll ask your comments on it. The literal government of Israel and the government of America did it with Trump. Remember when they did that with Trump after the Charlie Kirk assassination? They're now pushing out what appears to be AI through all their media channels. And it's people are asking, well, what happened to Benjamin Netanyahu? So let me play this real quick. And it's also crazy whenever world leaders get together, are having a major war, and they start talking about Messiah. Talking about Messiah.
Yeah, every one of them are apparently. So the Iranians are, he is, and our commanders are. So, and if I may say, you spoke on something that I've been getting into, which is I told you about it, exposure gate, which is exactly what you're talking about. Let's tell them all about all the corruption, all the CIA declassified documents that we talked about 10 years ago to people, trying to tell them about it, Lyme disease and ticks or cancer, whatever it is. And now they're coming out with all that whenever it's more important to be speaking about the technocratic state that's being built up. That's going to be what replaces everything whenever everybody revolts because of the exposure. I think it's genius, really. But yeah.
Oh, I'm with you 100%. Because when you know the outcome, you can start kind of figuring out what they're trying to do. And we know what the goal is. And I think they'll do any means to get there. This is a generational plan. Who knows how old it really is? I mean, some might say hundreds of years, some might say thousands of years. And there's $1 trillion that they've put behind this. The entire UN is behind it. If you want to know who's part of it, go look who's part of the UN, right? These are the nations, possibly the table of nations that the Bible talks about, the Deuteronomy talks about, that are controlled by these Babylonian bloodlines. And they are, performing an off-Broadway production of The End of Days, and we'll see if it works. It's just crazy that we're living in this type of world right now. All right, let's play this.
Recognize the fact that we will reach to the kingdom. we will make it to the return of the Messiah, but this will not happen next Thursday. The lives of nations is always precarious and surrounded with threats. Our survival, our endurance is a result of alliances that we forge for our existence to be stronger. No doubt we are moving from one battle to another, from the establishment, and with this battle now, with this operation, Israel has become stronger than ever.
Crazy. And then, as you know, if you're watching this, internet sleuths started breaking down the video and taking screenshots of it. And it appears that Benjamin Netanyahu has 6 fingers, just like the Nephilim or the spawn of the Raphaim, which are post-flood giants. So what say you? Do you think it's AI? Where do you think Netanyahu is? Why do you think they're using AI instead of just using Netanyahu to deliver this horrible message? Oh, and by the way, good news, the Antichrist isn't coming this Thursday. So we got a little bit of time, get a little time. But what's your take on all of this?
Well, first of all, it could be as simple as this, which, just saying. He could be using an AI video to get a message across because he doesn't want to go and get in front of cameras because of the, danger of getting bombed. It is also possible. I just would hate for me to say it's possible he's dead and they're using AI videos and then him come out later and be alive. So it's possible that he's using AI videos because he's scared. He's hiding and he's doing, he doesn't want to get killed for coming out to try to speak to people. And so there's a possibility of both. But yeah, that's definitely AI. I mean, I don't know if that's really a question. I mean, I don't know. Did they have anybody verify with AI?
No. And of course you have the $7,000 club, the shills, all trying to debunk
who haven't been paid.
AI. Yeah, right.
They haven't even been paid yet. So that's crazy. I was like, you guys didn't even get paid for this? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That is funny that they bounced the checks to the $7,000 club.
Holy shit. And then no shame. None of them come out and go, I didn't even get paid. Look, I'm super apologetic for what happened. I may lose my whole reputation, but yeah, I fucked up. These guys are out here paying people. I didn't even get paid, but they're trying to, whatever. Nobody.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
And it's interesting, Mossad's unofficial slogan is through deception, we wage war. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, then why are they trying to post the fact that they are paying influencers to push Israeli propaganda in America and being so public about it? It's like, did they forget how to wage war through deception? No. Because this entire noticing movement is astroturfed. And I'm sorry, I'm a product of it. I started waking up, after Cooties 19, maybe a little bit before. And when you understand that QAnon is an intelligence operation through and through, they want you to notice and they want you to turn on. And it's just absolutely nuts. But yeah, just look how evil this guy looks. And there's also other videos where his teeth were all kind of messed up.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? Do you think
I heard it was coming through his lip, right? Or something crazy.
Yeah, it looked really weird. And it's like, well, I have a question. Whoever made that AI, and these governments have way stronger AIs, way better AIs that they probably developed in a deep base somewhere, and they only give us, a late version of it. Like, why do you think the misstep? Like, do you think that they wanted internet sleuths to go through this and point out the 6 fingers?
I think that AI is not perfect yet. I think they're selling a dream as far as this idea of Hollywood's not going to be using AI to do like everything, right? They're going to be using a mixture of CGI with AI to clean it up in between frames, etc. But I don't know, man. I think that this is all a psyop game, and it's all look over here, look over there, look over here. It's all magic, like you're saying. And so this could just be another layer of that, where it's like everybody's talking about how this is AI and it's fake, and he's got 6 fingers, he's an Nephilim, he's a shapeshifter. There's a lot more important things to probably be more, delved in, which we're going to get to throughout this, show, I'm sure. And of course, this is the big one, that everybody's talking about today. And tomorrow it's going to be something stupid as well, just like the day before. It was something else that was, not as important as some other things I've been reading about that's going on right now. Right. So there's always a magic trick going on. I do want to show you this video whenever you get a second after.
Go ahead and play it.
Here, let me see. So I've got it ready to share. I think you got to
Oh, I
maybe
gotta.
hit that
What do I
possibly.
have to do?
Look on the bottom, see if you do you gotta press on it?
What? Oh, add to stage? No, that's mine.
Yeah, yeah. Wait, I should have one down there.
No. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay,
Yeah.
fellas. Thank
Hell
you
yeah.
for. Here we go. We're gonna add you on right now.
Cool. Okay. And then tell me if you can hear this. Let me get the. All right. You may have seen this. It's been going around. There's two rabbi videos I want to show you, but they're both very equally important. And it's everything we're talking about here. So you can hear this. Yes.
To be of service to the Jewish people.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to mute my mics. That way I don't echo back.
And the Jewish Messiah. President Trump's right ear was grazed in a symbolic gesture of Exodus 21:6, where the Torah states that a servant who wants to remain with his master needs to have his right ear pierced. Trump was designated as God's servant and anointed one, just like Cyrus the Great almost 2,400 years ago. We have clarified in several videos that the absolute deadline for the redemption is by the end of the Jewish year 5,787, which corresponds to October 2nd, 2027. 1,167.
Now you said it won't happen next Thursday, just like Netanyahu said, but you know, he says October 7th, 2027, apparently. So and you know, a listener, whenever we showed this video on my show, they brought up the fact that one of his shoes came off. And so we looked it up live on the show, and dude, it's crazy. It's a Freemasonic gesture you do during an initiation ritual where you take off the shoe. It's the same thing as signing a contract. So essentially, he had his right ear pierced to show his servitude to the high priest, and took off his shoe as the signing of the contract. Of it signifies change and you know, like growth, loyalty, change, like, you know, all that stuff. But also, it's like contractual signature, signing off on that development of growth, change, loyalty, whatever. Very crazy. So that motherfucker made a deal, dude. That was that. I think he made a deal that day, and that was it's all theater, you know.
No, I think Trump made a deal from the very beginning. You know, I see a lot of influencers, you know, like the Ian Carrolls, who deceived everybody to voting for him. You know, too late, the agenda, right? And I'm not saying that the Democrats would have changed anything, but it just, you know, gives insight to these people. But you know, I'm thinking about the war here, and this guy says 1,100. Oh, back to what I was saying about Trump, dude. Trump was groomed by Cohen. He was friends by Epstein. He got bailed out by the Rothschilds. Trump was always part of it. He was always part of the Zio cartel, this blackmail cartel. And to say anything other, I think, is disingenuous. I think you're just trying to cover for you. But he mentioned like 1,100 days, right?
The real power base is.
Oh, don't get me started on Pierce Morgan or
Sorry.
this Professor Jiang guy.
We'll get it. Yeah. He's saying it. Yeah. Go ahead. I think it's because I want to ask you what you thought about him after this. So please go ahead.
So, but as far as that applies to what we're seeing in Israel and Iran and this current conflict, because I don't know how long this war can last for. And I almost wonder if we're going to see some type of resolution soon, maybe in the next 2 or 3 weeks. You know, the temple gets destroyed, and then they try to operate as business as usual. But the problem is you can't put the toothpaste back into the tube, right? Everybody already knows the reason that this happened was for this holy war, for this apocalyptic wet dream of the Zionists and everybody else, right? Because they all want to participate in this beast system. In all great battles, you need the good guys and you need the foes, and it changes depending on, you know, what side you're on. But I can totally see that them ending it, you know, maybe in like 3 weeks, and then they just try to operate as business as usual. And meanwhile, you're going to have the entire American population, except for the hardcore Zionists left over, that it's just going to have resentment. I think that might actually bring people out to the streets, right? That might bring this rebellion inside, or this turning on Israel that they actually want. That's going to set up this great war when the nations turn on Israel. And maybe that's what that one guy's alluding to on that date.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they want it to end anytime soon, obviously over in Israel, Netanyahu, etc. But we will see. It's very hard, you know, to tell, because there's so much that they need to accomplish still, as far as, like, you know, they still got to get Turkey involved so they could get rid of NATO, because as that rabbi, if he would have kept talking, I stopped him, but he starts talking about how everybody who's 29 to 30 and under are very anti-Semitic, and how Trump has to pretty much, if Trump thinks making America great again is his destiny, he's extremely mistaken. He's supposed to, really bring the Messiah in and bring the power into Jerusalem, destroy NATO, the corrupt NATO, and establish a new one in Jerusalem, where this new world order essentially is going to be from Jerusalem. This is Pax Judaica. This is everything that this Chinese guy is talking about. I think it's very interesting because you're right. I don't really trust him. Now, why are they coming? This goes into my exposure gate thing, really. Why are these people coming out and saying exactly what me and you have been talking about and others regarding like the angle to this stuff? Like right here, I'll show you what he says here. And it's everything we've been talking about.
Mhm.
Or for instance, the Pax Judaica angle he takes. Or for instance, the priest that talks about how aliens are really demons. So, why would they come out and tell the truth about those things? What do you think about that?
Well, I think this is all them programming us to accept their agenda on what they want. And like I said, let's not get amnesia. Let's not let word magic have us forget what someone like Pierce Morgan Pierce Morgan did during the Cooties 19 thing. He was 100% part of the agenda. So the fact that all these influencers who are going on Pierce Morgan, the first thing I think, suspect.
Yes.
But
and don't forget, Pierce Morgan was like literally a Zionist throughout the whole Gaza war, all the way until like the last month. So, yeah.
And then he goes and dunks on someone like Ben Shapiro, and everybody's like, yay, yay, yay.
It's that easy, dude. It's that easy. Really. It's crazy.
And that's why I really don't dunk on the $7,000 club too much, because that's just like when Ben Shapiro would go to those college campuses and like dunk on like 19-year-old pansexuals with pink hair, and everybody like, oh, you're so sweet. I mean, it's so obvious at this point. Unless you're a hardcore Zionist, I don't know how anybody believes in what they're saying. But then they offer you this other option, right? So I agree with a lot of the things he says, but ultimately I believe this is a spiritual battle at its foundation. And I'm a little suspect. And hey, listen, whatever your views are, that's between you and God. I'm not here to attack any of them. But he is a big Christian Gnostic, which I think is the antithesis of the Bible. They believe that the God of the Old Testament is the demiurge, that he is this evil person. And that's what he is. He said as much. So I think, so everybody's like, they give you partial truths. And then I think he hands you over. Oh, see these religions, see what the Abrahamic faiths are doing. They're creating this apocalypse. We need to reject them all. And you know whose fault that is? That's the Bible's fault. But hey, I got this new type of belief, right? And I'm Professor Jang, right? And it's going to end up Christian Gnosticism, part of Mystery Babylon. We'll see. But that's my suspect with the person. And
1,000%. Even Candace Owens, with the astral projection and the whole, her and Charlie had, telepathic, abilities and things like that. It's like, this is the occult theocracy, and that is where we're going to head. And guess what? The Zionists have no problem leading us into the destruction of all the Abrahamic religions, even if it means Judaism, because they do not care about that. They are Mystery Babylon occultists. And so they want that. And so when we realize that, then you could see why they would lead everybody into that. Well, why would they do this to themselves? Because they want the destruction of Judaism, Christianity, and Muslims. And so that's something a lot of people don't say either, is they're like, oh, the Zionists just want to destroy Muslims and Christians. It's like, whoa. They also want to destroy Judaism along with it. And everything that comes with it, because you still would have an semblance of some of the God story if you kept any of the Torah, by the way. You know what I mean? I mean, let's be real here. Like the Tanakh and the Tanakh or Tanakh. These are things that are still important. Now, the Talmud, things like that. I mean, they really have to destroy all that. But guess what? The people who did the Talmud and everything, those are really going to be the people running the Babylonian cult, essentially, at the end of the day, because that is the Babylonian Talmud. Well, so that's where you're going to see your policy coming from spiritually.
Yeah, and a lot of those rabbis are Kabbalah practitioners, right? And that's not Torah Judaism at all. That's a Jewish version of Eastern mysticism. Let's get real here. And, everybody likes to talk about, this one world government, technocracy, AI, but we forget the spiritual component of their agenda, which is Mystery Babylon, which
Mhm.
is, the worshiping or the venerating of these multiple gods. Cue the aliens, right? They're going to
Yes.
come back,
Yeah.
I think, all of that, and they're going to replace all the Abrahamic faiths. But yeah, let's play this right here and see
Yeah.
what he has to
There's a
say.
reason. There's a reason why CERN operates on top of the old Apollo cult, because in the Bible, Apollo is Abaddon, and go look at what Abaddon does in the Bible for some context, and then that can kind of let you know what's. Yeah, it's the same thing. All right, cool. Let's do this. Let me see. Oh, I'm over here trying to press play on the StreamYard. All right, here. Cool.
Right.
All right.
So I actually don't say the real power base is Israel. What I say is that the real power base are a collection of secret societies that have an eschatological view of this war. And these secret societies include the Freemasons, which are now called the Rosicrucians and the Knights Templars. They include Jewish organizations called the Sephardim Frankists, who are embedded in religious movements called Shabbat Lubavitch. And then you have the Jesuits. You have a collection of secret societies. And they believe that a war in the Middle East would start a process that would culminate in the end times and the return of Jesus, the arrival of the Jewish Messiah, the building of a one world government. They have different eschatologies, but a lot of their time frames do align. So where they converge is that there has to be a war in the Middle East to kick things off. This war in the Middle East will lead to the defeat of the American Empire, and this will lead to the culmination of the Greater Israel Project, where Israel is able to control the Middle East from the Nile to the Euphrates. Once the Greater Israel Project is in place, it will transform into the Pax Judaica, which is an AI surveillance state. This will eventually lead to the war of Gog and Magog, the destruction of the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the building of the Third Temple, the return of the Jewish diaspora to Jerusalem, and the arrival of the Jewish Messiah or the anti.
I mean, that is literally everything we
Spot
talk
on.
about, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
everything we talk about right there. And he laid that out. I mean, he covered all the groups. He covered the timeline. Man, the only thing that makes me wonder is, where does China fit in all this? How come he's not
Exactly.
talking about China? Why isn't he talking about China? It's like, dude, hold on here. Back up. Where's
he should,
China involved?
he should talk about how, Kissinger and Nixon opened up China to give them a testing field for
Mhm.
this AI beast system. Let's not
I
forget
wonder if he does. I wonder if he does or not. I haven't checked out his stuff. I'm curious to know.
Yeah, I've heard some people talk about him, call him out or whatever. And I guess I can't say this for sure, but I guess he never points to China. It's always every other
Okay.
secret group. But he's right about that. I do agree. And
He
let's
could be
just
right and still be controlled. And that's
Yeah.
something we have to be able to hold on our brain at the same time. That's what I mean by I listen to all Tucker and he can still be controlled. We have to be able to do that to be able to really fight our enemies, understand that it's an information warfare being done by people like this that have the microphone. And we have to be able to listen to them and understand that there's truth coming out of there. But then we also have to be able to use our discernment to see what we could do to fight it, knowing that they're actually controlled out.
I did like how he said that, Israel necessarily isn't the power center, right? It's just a proxy to be sacrificed to fulfill this biblical prophecy. And I like how he described the power center, how it was a network of secret societies, which I believe are controlled by these ancient Babylonian bloodlines. Go back to Deuteronomy 32. When God created the nations and he assigned a lowercase or rebellious God to rule over each one of them. And you have
Yes.
the table of nations, right? All the bloodlines that are not in the Davidic Jesus bloodline who are, running these nations in the material world. So I believe it 100%.
Yeah.
And it points
Well, also,
to,
he doesn't mention the fact that, he doesn't talk anything about the fact that, they want to destroy the religions to also bring in this new religion, Luciferian doctrine that the Freemasons actually believe in. He says the Masonries, in all of them, the Jesuits, all of them believe in the coming of the Antichrist and the one world religion or one world government, but he doesn't mention one world religion. He doesn't mention the destruction. Isn't that weird? He almost says it like he almost he presents them as Christians.
well, you know what it is? You know why he doesn't do that? It's because he is a Gnostic. And I've heard him talk, and he's like, yeah, people have accused me of being a Luciferian. because of his belief. So that's why he doesn't blow the cover on that. 'cause
There's a
he's
version of
practicing.
Gnosticism. There's a version of Gnosticism that doesn't believe that you are God, but that has like Freemasonry been hijacked and destroyed, in the early stages of it. But there is a certain part of it where there's a basis to it. That they just believe that you could access Jesus, God, through yourself, but not that you become God or like the wielder of power in any sense, or the ultimate, deceiver, things like that. By the way, Nefunner, he was talking about China and Russia are Gog and Magog. I wonder about that. I've heard the debate on that.
I
And
disagree with that.
yeah, I do, but I've heard people say that. I just think that he would call it China, I feel like, if he was talking about those things.
Well, Heiser, Dr. Heiser. Hey, listen, if anybody wants some good Bible stuff, check out Dr. Heiser. And he actually does like a 3-hour breakdown of the war in Gog and Magog. And that was all Cold War, propaganda, when this idea that Russia was Gog and Magog. And it's actually, if it's anybody, it's Turkey. So this was, according to Dr. Heiser, and thank you, Nephilim Hunter, for shooting in there.
Yeah. Estonia, he said Estonia's gonna be the new power center. Isn't that what Tim Constantine said from 6th century?
What is Estonia?
Isn't that the place that has the pyramid, like the crazy pyramid? And were you in that episode we talked about that? Where I was like, oh, that looks like the place that they fucking held the globe, Trump and them. It was like the big pyramid. And hold on, let me look up Estonia. Hold on.
How far is Estonia away from Israel? You know the city I'm talking about that looks like Freemason's wet dream. Oh yeah, and Kurdistan or something like that.
Yeah, we talked about that on Biblical Hitman.
Yeah, can you pull that up real quick?
Yeah, I actually, I found it too.
Yeah, let's pull up an image right here so everybody can see. Yeah, this is like a Freemason's wet dream.
Hold on, let me stop this screen and pull up a new one here because it's
although Nephilim Hunter said something funny right here. He goes, when we were talking about it'd be no difference if a Democrat was elected, he goes, no, everything would have been just way gayer.
Yeah, it would have been gayer, definitely. I don't think that they would have gotten away with getting it this accelerated the way that Trump has either.
Yeah.
People were pushing back so hard on the left that they needed somebody on the right that they could use, that people would follow without questioning, to really push this shit, accelerate it forward. And that's exactly what he did, I think. They wouldn't have gotten away with it this fast if it was the left. I almost wish the left one, just for that simple fact of knowing that they would push it, but it wouldn't have worked as well.
Well, that's because they needed to get the opposition into voting for the agenda, because they're the ones that, conservatives by their nature are distrustful of the government, are distrustful of the agenda. So if you give them a puppet, a hero, a demigod like Trump, who's battling the white hat, battling the dark hats, right? It's a lot easier. So I think that's why they put Trump in play, personally, to get the other people on. A couple more comments before we move on, and then we'll go into that city. Lila Town, will it be saved? Yes, on YouTube. You could watch it there. I will then upload it onto BitChute as well, or on all the audio platforms probably tomorrow. But hey, if you're on Instagram, come check out my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get people over there, like and subscribe.
Get over there, get some love. Subscribe,
get some love, right?
Even some guy get in there.
Yeah, this guy says Pierce is the controlled narrative, broken record, flips from the page to page, breaking the flow. I agree with you there. One more, and then we'll go on to the next one. From Deleuze 3, Babylon wages war on Babylon. Babylon falls. Babylon rises from its ashes. It's all an act, yet the slaughter of the people are real. Just remember, never pick sides. Amen. I'm glad you said that. Because that's the saddest thing. That's the saddest thing. This is just one big ritualistic sacrifice, putting humans through the meat grinder, regardless of what war you're talking about.
I mean, dude, look no further than the fact that they burned a statue of Baal with all, with the leaders on there, Epstein and Trump, etc., with Epstein, with Netanyahu, and they burned that. And then literally the first couple hours, I was awake, by the way, I've been working nights. I told you this before. So literally 2 a.m., they go and hit there. And within a couple hours, the Ayatollah is dead and they hit that school. Then they hit the school again while there's rescue missions there. Now, I don't know about you, but do you remember whenever Gaza was going on and they hit the hospital and then people were rescuing and they hit the hospital again?
Yeah.
That is textbook Israel combat tactics. So, and it's called a double tap, and that's definitely 100%. It was on purpose. Now, here's the thing. People are like pointing to America and saying that it was us. Trump literally is like dog whistling that it was Israel. He's like, other nations have tomahawks.
Yeah.
He's like, who else do you know that double taps places? Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, wake up.
This is all about manufacturing. And shout out Biblical Hitman. Hey, if you guys are
Hey,
listening
shout out
to this,
Biblical.
check out the Biblical Hitman. Steven has a great podcast. I'm sure if you listen to mine, you listen to his. He's one of the true, honest brokers out there, a true man of God. So shout out Biblical Hitman. Let's show this. Let's show this pic. Do you have the picture of the?
Yeah, I got it ready. Let's do it.
Do I have to upload it? I have to upload
You're gonna
it.
have to click on the
Okay,
bottom.
let me
again.
click on it real quick.
Now,
let's pick up those pictures so they can see.
And I'm not finding exactly what I think that they wanted us to find here. I know that this is kind of like, I mean, obviously this is in it, but there's like a pyramid of some sort, and I'm not finding it right away. I don't know what it's called. It had some crazy name. I think this might be.
It's Kazakhstan. That's what the Nef Hunter said.
Yeah, this is inside of Kazakhstan. That's what I'm looking at. This is Astana, Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
So,
Wild.
but yeah, I mean, dude, it's fucking gorgeous, though. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
You mind if I play a video real quick?
Go ahead. Yeah, of course.
And like I said, let me get to it. And this is what I'm saying. It's like, did Mossad forget how to wage war through deception? Or are they purposely trying to piss people off? So once again, that guy, Sergor Yank or whatever his name is from the Young Turks, part of the system. Pierce Morgan, part of the system. And now you have like this Israeli, I don't even know what he is. Something to do with the government. And look how it just makes you want to hate them. I watch this, and we shouldn't hate anybody, right? That's another thing. That's when the devil wins, right? Everything we're seeing, a manifestation, is to get us to hate each other, right? I truly believe that, and we should not.
Oh my God, dude, yeah. Yeah, dude, I watched that Michael Schellenberger. I'm sorry to interrupt, but dude, you just like brought this out of me. I watched that Michael Schellenberger interview with Joe Rogan, and it takes everything in me not to do a talking point by talking point, like minute by minute breakdown of everything wrong with that whole, like just everything that came out of his mouth. It would just, you're right. You're exactly right.
Yeah, it's like they, if they really cared about, Israel and its existence, they would have not done the things they've done for the past 2 or 3 years. Why it's wide in the open. They would have waged war through more deception, but that's the deception, right? Exactly. Everybody thinks, oh, I'm a genius, I'm noticing. No, QAnon was an intelligence operation that like put gasoline on the noticing. They want you to notice because they want you to accept their new AI system. So let me play this real quick. And I mean, I just watched this. I'm like, golly.
Iranian nuclear program is going to be destroyed. And anyone who gets in the way, it doesn't matter where they are, even if they are politicians in the West, they are going to fall because we cannot afford.
Hold on. Did you hear what he just said? He threatened politicians in the West that if they don't agree with Israel's war against Iran, that they're going to fall. And remember, he's an Israeli agent. Are you saying Israel will murder politicians in the West or get rid of them politically through bribery or whatever else? What do you mean the politicians in the West will fall if they don't agree that to back Israel's war against Iran?
So scripted, right?
It is so scripted. I can't even stomach watching it, dude. It's the most scripted. Wait, are you saying it's just scripted? Anyway,
if they don't support us, we will kill them. Does that sound like Mossad to you? Does that sound like waging war through deception? See, that's the deception,
that is Borat. I think this dude's Borat biblical.
No, it's nuts, man. And people are just falling for it. And that's the thing. That's the thing. My beef with the mainstream alternative media, and that's what we do on, everything is fake and lame. They just react. None of them ask questions like why. Why is the system exposing itself? Why is this Israeli spy master or whatever coming on this American show? I guess it's a British show, but it's a Western show, and talking about how they're going to take out, American leaders. Why is that happening?
And why do they don't ask like such the cliche, like you know, like anytime I watch a movie, if I see like a guy who's like undercover terrorist or whatever, like it looks just like that. He's got the leather jacket, the little beard. Oh my God. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, I
crazy.
mean, to me, it's clear as day. We were watching a Masonic script. Oh, have you seen this yet?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, yeah,
Can I
definitely.
play this real quick?
Please, please.
This is too
It's
funny.
insane.
Hey, just so you know, before I play this, everybody, if you're listening, you're an idiot. No, I'm just kidding. Listen what Alex Karp, and by the way, does Alex Karp not seem like I didn't mean you are, but Alex Karp thinks you are, people. Doesn't he seem like the biggest cokehead in the world?
Yeah, he's amped.
I mean,
he's passionate, dude. I mean, I can't hate on that, you know.
Well, I guess if you're a demon, you get pretty amped up when your technology kills a bunch of innocent people. He's just probably living off that blood high, you know?
Oh, yeah, dude. He's definitely.
All right, let's play this real quick.
Conspiracy theorists, you may hate this, but there's one person protecting your right to be a conspiracy theorist that actually has a seat at the table, and that person is me. You may not want to hear that truth, but it is fucking true. And maybe do a little more reading before you pontificate on your absurd and obviously ill-informed and many times stupid opinions. Okay. So, because like
I love it.
Well,
come on, and fucking talk about every detail about how this is protecting people's rights and protecting people by you watching and collecting data on everything they do. I would really love to hear how that correlates to protection.
Well, don't you know?
Security's always sold as protection,
Yeah.
you know, or surveillance rather is always sold as security.
Don't you know that the reason we're so lucky in this country to call out the masters of mankind is because the masters of mankind are protecting us from the terrorists with their technology? You didn't know that? Go kiss their ass. In fact,
I swear to God, if his answer is the Islamicists want to take your rights and that's how we're protecting you, then I would walk out. That'd be it. I'd be like, oh, that's your answer? That's why? Okay.
You stupid conspiracy theorists, bend over, let Peter Thiel give it to you, and you know what? You are lucky we were protecting you from the CIA. Speaking of the CIA, did you see right after, within like a week, I think it was, of the Israel, USA, Iran war, there was and we'll get into that now, actually. Let's get into some false flag events. Did you see how there was a false flag event in Austin? And it was a Muslim man, and he just happened to be wearing a sweatshirt that said "Property of Allah."
And yeah, I believe he worked at Tesla and had just assaulted somebody right before that too. So I mean, very odd.
Yeah,
dude, they're putting materials in these guys, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, 100%.
I believe on the same day or the day after in Kansas City, you had two events in Kansas City. You had a plane that got grounded, and you also had a man who made a homemade bomb and put it inside of a trash can outside of the World War I museum. And then a similar situation, a guy goes out in New York the other day over a protest and throws a homemade bomb over them, yelling Allah Akbar. Of course, you've got the yesterday, Michigan. Yeah. You got the guy that drives in a couple weeks after they did a security drill.
I think it was 2 months after the FBI came.
It was like a few weeks. Yeah. It was right after, and they're doing a little drill, just getting ready. And then, of course, this guy drives through there with some explosives it's just back to back to back. And nobody really seems to care, which makes me a little bit uneasy because it's like, okay, well, it's probably going to be a big one that takes people to get people to actually care. People care more about, Nephilim Netanyahu, AI Nephilim Netanyahu than they care about, multiple false flags in a matter of a week inside of their own country.
Yeah, but isn't also wild? I was thinking about this the other day. I was talking to my co-host, Cindy. Not a lot of people, but definitely a significant amount of people are starting to wake up to this idea of false flags. They're starting to wake up to this idea of the CIA and Mossad, carrying out these acts to further their agenda. And I just think it's wild that we live in a time where something happens and a good segment of the population is now going, it's fake, it's fake.
Like that's what they want. So a big part of this exposure gate is that they want a couple things, I believe, with this exposure gate. It's not just about the revolt and Marxist aspect. It's also about trust. They want people to trust nothing. And if everybody trusts nothing, then they would go in their little echo chambers of people they do trust, and they get their, their little, paid informant people to tell them what to believe and how to believe, and everybody's getting guided this way and that. And I believe that that's very beneficial to the system, and that's also what they want. That's the point of all this exposure, is to drive people into trusting nothing, so they'll go look at these alternative media personalities who are the new mainstream personality. I mean, the new Mockingbird, Mockingbird Industrial Complex. That's what we're looking at. And so I think that it's driving people to it. So there's very few conspiracy theorists who are actually using critical thinking and not just believing, everything like us. But we're not the people that are like gathering all the alternative thinkers. We're not the ones that are gathering the new awakening, awakened people. They're going right to the mainstream alternative media personalities.
Yeah.
So
Who got
by
everything
design.
wrong? Who got
Exactly.
everything
Yeah.
wrong? I just love saying that.
Yeah.
And there was signs on the wall, right?
Mhm.
Hey, listen, and if you fell for it and you vote for Trump, and hey, look, I get it. You're busy. You got families. You got work. You trust these people because they're giving you some truth, but that's how all psyops work, right? But like I said, too late. They already got the agenda elected, right? If the elections are even real, I don't even know how real any of this stuff is. But
and to that point, by the way, for the midterms, I think by design, he wants to overthrow himself by the midterms. As we talked about earlier, the left wanted this agenda accelerated. He's now accelerated it. And if he hands the baton over right now, it's perfect, because everybody on MAGA would still blame the left for ushering in this technocratic AI police state, even though he laid the groundwork in the past year and a half to do so. But genius, get myself impeached. I'll still be the savior who got fucked over, who got thrown out. I mean, how could they, for at least a large base of people? Not that I think this will happen, but it would benefit him either way if you think about it. And then they can usher in the last final stages of what's coming, right? It's a
Who knows?
possibility.
It's a possibility. Speaking of false flags, they were talking about a possible, Iranian attack in California.
Yes.
And you know who owns the Chase Bank building in downtown?
Silverstein.
Lucky Larry Silverstein.
I wonder if he calls into work that day. Did you see that those drones got taken from that military base? Like, the
I
same
heard that.
day?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sure the drones will be coming from Iran, though, the ones that end up over in California.
It's wild.
It probably ends up being a different place, and, probably not even California. What's his name thinks it'll be Owen Schroyer thinks it'll be the Golden Gate Bridge because of the golden age. And they've already now hinted at California. So he might be onto something. He used to work with Alex Jones. So
you can't trust him there.
Exactly.
Hey, listen, I think there's good people out there, but I don't know how you work for Alex Jones for that long and not realize he's an intelligence op. Now, I get it. You have to pay your family and you got to eat. I'm not, hating on you for that, but he did go to jail for January 6th. He participated in that entire psyop. Who knows if he was really in jail? I don't know. But what did I want to show? This is actually interesting real quick. I want to talk about this because you kind of know this stuff.
Mhm.
I know you've looked into the occult, a bunch of stuff, and let me pull this up real quick. Hold on. Oh, great. Brett Weinstein.
Mhm.
Awesome. Let me pull this up, and I thought this was very interesting.
Yes, cake in a cup. It is the Golden State. No, I wouldn't be surprised if they utilize that for this golden age. This false golden age, everything's inverted. It's not the golden age. It's the Iron Age in reality.
Yeah. So here's a text by Candace Owens, or should I say Sandy Owens, because we all know where her father worked.
Mhm.
I might not want to say that because I might get dinged, but she's clearly controlled op. She's married to Lord Farmer's son of the permanent house of Lord. She's married to the system, but look what she writes right now. People seem upset now that we are discussing occult rituals, blood sacrifices, and witchcraft. Freemasonry is real, as are blood sacrifices and the revelation of the method, all discussed by Father Rippinger on Sean Ryan's podcast. This is who we are battling. And I think I responded to that. Are you not that's another one. I think I responded to that, but isn't this exactly what Candace is doing? Isn't she, showing the revelation of the method by exposing all these things? What say you?
Oh yeah, that's very insightful. It's a classic projection.
So what is
They're
revelation
doing
of the
this.
method? What is that exactly? For
Revelation of the method is it's very close, in my opinion, to Well, not really. The Hegelian dialectic, kind of like the problem reaction solution. It's this idea like you have a problem, you want to get it into action, so you create, something so that you could give the solution. Well, the revelation of the method is similar in the aspect that you're telling people how the inner workings of things work back here slowly. It's just like what we see with the predictive programming, the moving of the Overton window. This is the revelation of the method, letting you know how things are done. Like in a movie, they'll show you subliminal messages of the occult or of satanic imagery. That is because they can't help but show you a little bit of their methodology of the occult. And so that's all it is. It's just showing you what's going on, which is very similar to predictive programming, subliminal messaging, and the Hegelian dialectic. If you think about it, it's very, very much all the same style tactics of driving somebody's attitude, mind, and beliefs to shift it towards your liking, to guide them towards what you want them to believe.
Yeah, I
So,
believe it
that's
100%.
what I think. That's how I look at it, really, and that's the purpose of it as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly what she's doing and all of her friends. And
Yeah.
you can spot a controlled op. It's what they won't talk about. Like, it's so easy to spot the $7,000 club because it just makes you want to vomit every time they open their mouths. But to spot a controlled op, it's what they won't talk about. And are you familiar with John Mappin at all?
I've heard that name. Who is he?
So he's some guy that's tied in with the Royals, some old money family, I think.
Oh yeah,
friends.
he's the millionaire. He's the millionaire behind her that's connected with Charlie Kirk and Erica, and they're all
right. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So, and this is what I really found interesting. And by the way, he's a
used the pentagram instead of the fucking menorah. Look at that.
Right.
Okay,
so, but no, he's a Scientologist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, they sacrificed Charlie Kirk, a black magic ritual, right? Which possibly is true. It definitely was a black magic ritual. I don't know if he's dead or not. He's more powerful as a martyr to both sides, if you ask me. And yes, Candace and Erica are both witches. But what I found interesting is he never exposes the leader of his own cult, who, by the way, is L. Ron Hubbard, who performed the Babylon working rituals with Jack Parsons.
Which I believe ushered in the Moonchild, which I believe may or may not be Trump.
So
and nobody will tell you that aspect of it, that it's probably Trump. He was born. People will tell you he was born on a blood moon eclipse, but they won't add in the fact that it was 3 months after the Babylon working.
Yeah, and
I don't think that's by mistake.
And that's what I'm saying. And it's weird. Like the other day, I just had this feeling, and this came over me. I was just like, F all denominations. Like, screw all different denominations, because here's the honest to God truth. And no one wants to call out their side. No one wants to go down the rabbit hole of whatever they identify as, yet they expect someone else to do it. And the truth of the matter is, if you do go down the rabbit hole, regardless of what you call yourself, you will find out that the institutions who claim to represent who you are all 100% tied to the system. So here we have Candace Owens exposing Zionism, but what is she not exposing, and what is she a shill of? The Vatican, which is another ancient Babylonian pedophile cult, which I think ultimately is going to replace Zionism as it dies to kick off this great war that's about to go down.
And if it wasn't bad before, I mean, the Frankists, Sabbatean Frankists that infiltrated the Catholic Church very early on is a big. I mean, it in our modern iteration.
It happened before that. It happened before the Sabbatean Frankists.
But it's provable that the modern iteration of it is definitely, it's not good. And you spoke to it, dude. I mean, you literally gave the answer to your own question. It's the identity aspect of it. People identify, and their identity is what they care about. So they're not going to look at their own thing. They're not going to look deeper. And if you're questioning it, you're going after them. And so, because they attach themselves to beliefs that they don't even understand, because it's an identity. It's not even a belief system to them necessarily, because they don't really even know their beliefs. They're told what their beliefs are, and they go, okay, that's it. That's my belief for the day. Every Sunday they get told, all right, I resonate with that. That's my belief for the day. Well, if that's all it fucking takes, then I mean, what do you do? You're just being mind controlled every Sunday, and you could have a satanic priest in front of you telling you all these things, and you think that because it resonates, sound good. Okay, that's it. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I believe that's what's going on more than anything.
I could be wrong about this, but I think the true body, and then we'll get into some comments. I think the true body is all individual, is a spiritual one. It's any individual that wakes up every single morning and goes, "Here I am, Lord. Do what me will. I have all faith in you." And as you know, faith without works is dead, but it is faith that saves us. All those who take that narrow path with Jesus, our Messiah, that is the true body. I think anytime you hyphenate it is when you're adding, your own man-made traditions, your own, whatever it is to your relationship with God. And I don't think we should do that. And ultimately, it divides the body, which is probably the plan all along.
Yep, exactly. Nope, and that is the plan, is to keep us weight. And Biblical Hitman's right. He's
What did
he
Biblical
was
even
talk-
say?
he was talking about the Aeon of Horus is the time of the Antichrist, aka Apollo, and then he was talking about how he has the Apollo iconography, some kind of art piece in the ceiling on his tower.
Oh, but speak about his
course.
tower. Dive into who architectural firm designed it.
Yeah,
Charlie Kirk's dad's.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. Whenever I found that out, my mind was blown, dude. I was like, "Oh man, come on!"
And doesn't have the pyramid on it or the triangle with the 6 trees on each side, so you get 666 in his. To what Stephen was saying for Biblical Hitman. He has
Yeah.
all this fallen angel symbolism. They call them Greek gods. They call them, whatever. That's fallen angels, right?
Mhm.
All cultures describe the same thing. It's just depending on how you look at it. The majority of them back then thought, no, these were gods and we worship them. But the ancient Israelites and the early Christians would have said, no, these are the sons of God, the rebellious sons of God, and we should not. But you find this fallen angel imagery all over Trump's personal life.
No, exactly. And you know what's very funny if you think about it? Whenever you get into the beliefs that we're talking about, this Catholic priest, the exorcist that was on Sean Ryan, he was
Yeah, go
talking
into
about
that.
how the hierarchy of angels and demons, and it's just like the Kabbalic tree of life, where you have the upper and the lower, and it's like they mirror each other. And I think that there's truth in the fact that there are fallen angels and demonic spirits and disembodied spirits, Nephilim, etc., that want to get back and all that. I think there's truth in all that. But I also think that in a weird way, like so like this priest believes all of that too, right? And it seems like when you get deeper into that belief system, it matches the Kabbalic mysticism idea just like identically, which it would have to. If you believe in the angels and demons, and then you also believe in the fallen, or you believe in these pagan gods, you would have the same kind of system. You would end up with the same system because they're the same things. So in a weird way, it's like, okay, so does the Catholic Church worship demons if they worship the angels? Are there angelic spirits that they can contact? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, what's going on there as we get into it? If you have Christian belief systems, what about the Saint Archangel Michael? You know what I'm saying? Like, what about him?
Well, there's a lot of New Agers. I know that in the Starseed community that actually swear, oh, I communicated with the Archangel Michael. The Archangel Michael came and visited me. And here's the deal, guys. Angels are not omnipresent, right? They can't be everywhere at once like God Most High can be. So when people say they're communicating with a certain angel, and I believe that's absolutely possible, dude, 100%. I definitely believe in the spiritual realm. I definitely believe in supernatural gifts, some God-given, some that are artificially amplified by drugs. But
so he
yeah,
was espousing truth, you think?
Who?
That priest, when he was talking about just the whole realms of angels and demons.
Oh,
and how
absolutely. I think that, yeah. So I think it mirrors what goes on in the kingdom of heaven. And if you know anything about the kingdom of heaven, there's hierarchies amongst angels. There's the ones that's, the cherubs and the seraphim. You have the archangels. You have the worker angels. And I got to assume it's the same thing for Satan's pantheon or Satan's mafia.
It is.
And
that's how he described it. Yeah, it is. It's the same. And he described that he believes that Lucifer or Satan comes from the seraphim because they're focused on knowledge. And Lucifer, of course, brings knowledge. And Satan, all of his aspects of himself bring knowledge in some way, whether it's, scientific or the occult or whatever, right? And he was talking about how people that are possessed will just receive occult knowledge. And the channeling and all that stuff and abductions and how that's all demonic activity. And I just think that, man, dude, a lot of what he was talking about had to have been true. But I mean, he also was talking about how like he was speaking to demons whenever he would exorcise people.
See,
so
that's
it's like,
you
how
got
far do we go? How far do we go here, dude? Are we diving in head first or what? You know?
Well, you know, I've come to realize, and people might kill me for this one, but you know, and I have to say, this applies to this, you know, priest or whatever. You know, I think that, and I mean this all lovingly, because I call it everybody, right? The only one you could possibly accuse me of shilling for is Jesus. But I think that the Catholics are just as delusional about the Vatican as the Zionists are about the state of Israel. Full stop.
I think you're right.
And I say this to my fellow believers out there. I don't think you're bad people at all. I think we've all been programmed to a certain extent. But when you look at what's going on in the Middle East, right, with this destruction in Gaza, there's something in you, if you're operating in the spirit, should make you go, wait a minute, that's not right. Something that's going on here, that's not right. And I feel the same thing about the Vatican. You know, they just had their whole stuff, you know, exposed a little earlier. Maybe that's all by plan, right? So as Zionism dies, the Catholic Church kind of takes over. Maybe that's what we could talk about next. But yeah, I think that priest or any priest, if they're operating the spirit, and I don't want to claim that all priests are bad, something inside of them should be going. Something's not right about that. But yet we go to the evangelicals and they look at him and say, you should know this. You should know this. They call him out, but no one's calling out the Catholics. No one's calling out the Catholics who are still donating every single week. I mean, Israel's stealing your tax dollars, but you know, Catholics are willfully going to church and supporting a Babylonian cult, similar to what the Zionists are doing. It's crazy to me.
Well, and that's what he described, was that all of the witchcraft, occultism, and everything is an inversion of Catholics' mass, inversion of Catholics' rituals. And he also spoke, I know, I was hearing that, I was like, huh. And he also spoke about the fact that, I forgot what the first thing I was going to say was, because I went right into that one. But yeah, he was talking about what you're kind of saying a lot. Well, I'll get back to it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
no.
he was saying that the demons were telling him that these people high up in the Catholic church were doing things, you know.
Oh, really?
like,
Okay.
All right,
well, good on
yeah,
him.
exactly. yeah.
Good on him. But then again, I still have to be suspect about the whole thing because Sean Ryan is intelligence.
I know. Did you see he's hiring an executive producer right now?
Oh, really? Where
He
they
just came out with
there's
there's an application on X that people are that you can fill out. And it's pretty crazy. I went and looked at it. You just put your name and your email and then just like a resume, and that's it.
Yeah. Dude,
No questions asked. Just like that simple. I'm like, huh, you're going off really a small amount of information here to be hiring an executive producer that's going to take on like 3 hats at once.
Oh, dude, he's got intelligence money funding him, dude. And that's the thing. That's another thing we could talk about is the wellness company.
Yeah.
Look at there's a guy named 7 Seas. I don't necessarily agree with him spiritually, but when it comes to the spheres of control and how they fund these things, take a look at the wellness company.
Oh yeah.
The guy who owns the parent company or is the CEO of the parent company that owns the wellness company is straight from DARPA. That's how they fund the mainstream alternative media. So if you go to their website and look on who's part of that, it's all the controlled ops.
It's also the Apollo group as well, right? The
There you go,
Apollo group, the wellness company, which of course it's the Apollo group, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be?
Right. There you go. There you go. And you were saying this before. What's interesting, I think, you know, you definitely had some Khazarian or Jewish bloodline influence in the Catholic Church at a time period. But just go to the very beginning of it. When they legalized Christianity in Rome, they basically took Mithraism or the, you know, the worshiping of Isis, and they incorporated the story of Jesus. And instead of worshiping Isis, no, don't worry, you're going to go worship the Queen of Heaven, which is also the name of Isis. Isn't that interesting? Isis's name is the Queen of Heaven, and that's the name they give the Virgin Mary. You could worship her. Oh, you could also worship dead people. You know, and
in biblical Hitman's talking a lot about the divine feminine, and that's
There you go.
he's exactly right. He also mentioned, have we read the Two Babylons? I know I have. Alexander Hislop's Two Babylons. Have you read
What is
that?
that? No,
It's the whole concept that there's two Babylons. One is the Mystery Babylon cult that's spread out in secret mainly, right? And it was always persecuted by the Catholics, but the Catholics happens to be the other arm of the Babylonian mystery cult. So of course they're going to persecute their own, counterpart, even though really they're all working together, right? And so
Yeah.
this is the whole kind of concept that was coming out of that book. Just to nutshell it,
Yeah.
that was kind of most of it.
Are you familiar with Carrie Brigitte Bowler?
No, who is
Yeah,
she?
so-
Catholic for Catholics. Catholic
Yeah,
for
so
Catholics.
she actually was on like Trump's Religious Freedom Board or something like that, whatever that means. And she rose to prominence like big time. And a lot of Catholics are rising to prominence big time, like we haven't seen before. When she called out Zionism, and I think the whole thing was theatrical release. She called out Zionism on this. And then they threw her off the panel. And that just like elevated her up to this folklore like status. And once again, I'm not disagreeing with her. I don't believe we support political Zionism. I don't think we support anything in this end time scenario. God said it will happen. We should not support that. I agree with that. But who is she shilling for?
Yeah, you're
Oh,
employing
she's shilling for the
healthy-
Vatican.
You're employing healthy skepticism to the fact that this is the next iteration of where the movement goes.
Yes.
Whenever the Zionist turnover happens, and then we go into the next iteration, what will it be? They're setting up for the next exchange of power. Yeah. Definitely.
Yes, I think they're going to usher in all those who become disillusioned with Zionism or evangelicalism, since it's so tied to it, and usher everybody into Catholicism. And look at here. I mean, this is how like blasphemy. So if you look at this picture of Carrie Ann about some type of DC meeting, who's in the back of it? The Virgin Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this is what I'm saying. So on one side, look at this conversation between Laura Loomer and Carrie Bowler. And remember I said, if they're part of the $7,000 club, they just make you want to vomit in your mouth. And then you're going to have this new, Christian right that's moving forward. I think the Catholics are going to control it. We'll see. I think ultimately we live under the Roman Empire. I think the Rothschilds are the bankers of the Roman Empire. I think they got a little bit more power than maybe these royal bloodlines wanted them to have. But ultimately, I believe this is all the Holy Roman Empire.
Israel's the scapegoat. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And look what she says right here. So we have Laura Loomer, who's just the worst. Or should I say Larry Loomer?
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "You stupid bitch. It was always Trump who removed you. You're just too dense to understand the order came from him. But I told you, you are a disgrace." And then she writes, "Hate is on full display when accusing me of hates. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees and hypocrites." Well, the Pharisees in the body of Christ are the Catholic Church. They picked up where the Pharisees of the Israelites left off.
Yes.
And she goes, "You serpents, you brood vipers, how are you escaping? How are you to escape being sentenced to hell?" Matthew 2:23. So you'd read this back and forth and think, yeah, dude, Laura Loomer sucks. But then you think about it, you could apply this to the Vatican. And here she's saying real quick, and then we'll talk about this. There we go. I love that picture. The picture says a million words.
There it is.
Yeah.
Lay some context to what you're saying, Ben. Look at that shit. You can't even fucking deny what you're saying whenever you look at that. I mean, there's no denying what you're talking about. And why is there a sphere inside of that fucking that Star of Remphan?
Yeah.
It's almost like they're showing you like this is Saturn. You know what I mean? Like know what you're looking at.
And here she goes. They hate Catholics because to be a true Christian, you must be Catholic. And to me, that's heresy. The spiritual implications of that are great. And I wonder, I'm also going to be called crazy for this one too. This world is only temporary. And, the destruction and the killing of innocent peoples through the Zionist movement, which, all groups are involved with, is one thing. But we never take into consideration the spiritual component of this and the heresy and all of these other things that are happening within these various, denominations. Are those just as guilty? Because at the end of the day, this is a spiritual battle. Let's not get it twisted. This is heaven and hell, if you ask me. And I think that this new Catholic wing is going to do a lot of spiritual damage to people.
Well, this is the same thing that Netanyahu's doing. To be a Christian, you must be Catholic. To be a Christian, you must, support Israel. It's the same exact thing. I mean, it's the same messaging. You just sub in the word, right? So,
dude, you nailed it on that, my friend. 100%. Anything else you want to talk about? The floor is yours. Maybe I'll look for something else.
Oh yeah, dude. Here, check this out. Just to speak here. Let me get
real
this
quick.
ready
Real
for
quick.
you.
Can I just
Go
show
ahead,
a
go
meme that
ahead.
I made real quick?
Please.
It says to catch an intelligence op with Chris Hansen, and then there's a picture of Tucker Carlson right there. I thought that was funny.
That's hilarious. I love it. Did you see what I made today? It was if you flip the signature of Jeffrey Epstein, it literally matches the insignia for Neuralink. The logo. It's the exact same.
That's nuts. That's nuts. Did you want me to upload something from your screen?
Here, you could pull this up. I got Netanyahu right here. He's talking about. I think this is a clip from the same AI video.
But
I don't think we played this part. Yeah.
Okay, let's play this. Oh, there we go. Go ahead and get it going.
Cool.
We are in historic days. Days that will be written in the annals of Israel. In Operation Roaring Lion, our roar is growing and intensifying. We are pummeling the Islamic regime in Tehran. We are pummeling its emissaries, Hezbollah in Lebanon. There's unprecedented coordination between Israel and the US and achieved substantial achievements that are changing the reality in the West Bank, in the Middle East and beyond. These achievements are increasing the status of Israel as a superpower more than ever. Through our power in opposition to the power of our enemies, this is what is ensuring our survival.
Yeah, the superpower aspect to it. I mean, that's the point, right? Is creating the superpower in the Middle East ran by them. And it's going to be the new world order is based out of there. I mean, whenever you look at all the companies that are owned and everything, look at this Freemasonic handshake while we talk. I'll let that play on replay. Dude, whenever we look at like who owns all the AI companies and who's, buying the news companies and all of this, there, Unit 8200 that has their hands inside of everything, Project Esther, the Canary mission where they're blacklisting anti-Semites and then they're honeypotting them on X simultaneously to try to, this is the Operation Trust 2.0 in action, the Bolshevik Revolution. If you look into it, that's what we're watching, whether you look at Trump, whether you look at what it is laid out there. That is all. I mean, that's how they work. That's how they operate. So it's just the Bolsheviks again, man. I mean, that's really what it is.
Yeah. And, once again, I'm so confused of what's going on right now because there's just so much AI slop and trying to, I guess on one hand, back in the day when it was all mainstream media, we were just not wise or hip to it. And we just ate it up and we thought it was real. But then they give us a little freedom with the internet. But they make it just as hard to decipher what's real in the age of AI, especially
that was the plan the whole time.
You think that was a plan? So we don't know if we're coming or going. What's real? What's not? Because truthfully, I don't know what's real because I see both sides, right? Because remember this tribalistic mentality, and that's another thing with geopolitics. What people got to realize is the enemy of your enemy in geopolitics is not your friend. It's just another satanic Babylonian bloodline.
They'll stab you in the back.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, but and also about that, it's hold on. Oh fuck. Yeah, no, also about that, it's like we have this situation where Tucker and them are doing this thing, more than anybody, I guess, if you want to point to anybody, where they're openly saying that this administration is getting us into, something that will destroy America. But they're never pointing at Trump. They're always like acting like he's not involved in the decision making and he's being forced and his hands being forced. And they're like making an out for Trump in a weird way. And I just think that it's very disingenuous. And that's how you can. So every time I listen to Trump and I know that, or Tucker, and I know that they're espousing a lot of truths, that's where the lies are hiding, right? Is the fact that they'll omit certain characters in the situation or act like people who are shot callers aren't, etc.
Well, you know what they do?
Try to drive the narrative towards a certain person, like Netanyahu.
Exactly, towards a certain
Exactly.
group, right?
Exactly.
100%. You know, and that's the one thing I really felt disillusioned with the whole Epstein stuff, especially when coming from the mainstream alternative media. And I'm not saying that, you know, the government of Israel is not bad, but this is a coordinated effort by multiple bloodlines. But they were kind of pushing the idea, right? And this is just a falsity, a lie. They're like, well, the pedophiles that run our country would just do the right thing if the pedophiles that run Israel weren't blackmailing them. I go, wait a minute, they're pedophiles. What do you mean they're going to do the right thing? So there's this, you know, duality once again, good and bad. And they're pushing that, right? So as this war's going on, what's Tucker saying? Oh, it's not Trump or the American government. It's the stranglehold that Israel has over America. Once again, which aligns with what they're trying to do with biblical prophecy.
Oh, yeah. So did you see that they're sending this suicide mission over to Iran? 2,500 to 5,000 troops are going to the Middle East. Expeditionary.
I saw that.
Yeah, so you got that going on. And then simultaneously, I don't want to scroll to the top, but you had a video of Pete Hegseth was talking, and they won't disclose how many people have died. They will not tell what the casualty count is.
You want to play that real quick?
Which is very sus. Yeah. First, I want to show this, which is what we were just talking about. Yeah, dude, they aren't even lying about it anymore. Check this out.
We will keep pressing. We will keep pushing, keep advancing. No quarter, no mercy for our enemies. Yet some in this crew, in the press.
Dude, this guy's a bloodthirsty demon. I'm sorry. I just have to like this guy really, I mean, it's hard to even look at this motherfucker and take him serious. I mean, he is a psychopath to the highest degree. And it's coming out full force now that we're in the war situation. And I remember when he first got picked and people were talking about his Crusader tattoos and how he's been picked to do this. And when you look at his name, you know, Seth, which is Set in, you know, Egyptian mythology, which is like the devil, right? And then Heg, which is like the conqueror, the leader of. So, I mean, yeah, it's very suspect, right? And he's doing everything that it seems that he was chosen to do. But sorry, I just wanted to throw that in there. This guy's a demon.
Just can't stop. Allow me to make a few suggestions. People look up at the TV and they see banners, they see headlines. I used to be in that business, and I know that everything is written intentionally. For example, a banner or a headline, Mideast war intensifies, splashing on the screen the last couple of days, alongside visuals of civilian or energy targets that Iran has hit, because that's what they do. What should the banner read instead? How about Iran increasingly desperate? Because they are. They know it, and so do you, if it can be admitted. Or more fake news from CNN. Reports that the Trump administration underestimated the Iran war's impact on the Strait of Hormuz. Patently ridiculous, of course. For decades, Iran has threatened shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. This is always what they do, hold the strait hostage. CNN doesn't think we thought of that. It's a fundamentally unserious report. The sooner David Ellison takes over that network, the better.
Just openly admitted. Soon as David Ellison buys it out, we're good. We can openly propagandize you guys, and now we don't have to worry about the fake news. We can give you guys fake news. This is the Bolshevik Revolution. Fake news, fake news, fake news. Not to say none of it was fake, and not to say the media wasn't controlled at all. But fake news, fake news. Now we're going to take control of that news so we could give you more fake news. That's what we're dealing with.
Do you think it's working though?
You know, I don't, but I think it is working with everybody that watches Fox News.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it really is a generational thing. Because I meet people all the time and where they're coming from, and different age groups believe different things. And the youngest generation, I guess even mine, I'm a millennial, right? I think I'm a millennial. How old am I? I was born in 1985. Yeah, I'm probably a millennial. They're definitely disillusioned with what's going on. It's the older cats that are still supporting this, that believe in this good versus bad paradigm. But you know what? Even the younger cats believe in a good versus bad paradigm.
Yeah,
and
but
I'm
that's
saying
why they're
that's
going
the
to
falsity. That's the lie.
That's why they're going to Tucker Carlson. You see, the younger people like me and you who are just running away from MAGA are going to Tucker Carlson because it's that adjacent next step over, and he's saying everything. If you're not a thinking individual, dude, everything he says, if you don't really sit there and analyze, I mean, yeah, dude, I mean, I could see why they could be captured and led into, because he does it in a gentle way, and it's very subtle. And it's done in a way where you can't even see where the end game necessarily is that he's leading you to, but it's just so subtle. Even I don't know exactly how far in the wrong direction. Like, part of me, even sometimes when I watch him, I'm like, is there no good guys trying to expose what's going on out there? Like, that's how good he is. That I'll
Who,
wonder.
Tucker?
I'll wonder
Yeah.
for a minute. I'll be like, is there a chance that this guy is really trying to, because there's so much truth he puts in there that I'm like, is there a chance, or like, where does this lead? That's because it's so subtle that I'm like, yeah, it's hard to tell. It really is, dude. I won't lie to you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the importance of understanding biblical prophecy, right? So that's to me, it's like, all right,
I agree.
You know, Tucker's dad. I mean, I can go on and on about Tucker's connections to the CIA, his bloodlines, you know, that go back to, you know, very rich people. I could go on that forever, but, you know, is what Tucker Carlson's saying contributing to what the overall agenda is? And when I look at it, and when I look at the public's perception, how it's changing through what Tucker Carlson is saying, I'm like, boom, there it is. Or even Candace Owens. Meanwhile, the reason I say this also is because they shill for somebody else. You know who Tucker Carlson is not talking about? The Vatican. You know, Candace. By the way, another thing about Tucker Carlson, I mean, his son Bucky.
Yeah.
I mean, so tell me this. So as Tucker Carlson is exposing an agenda which he deceived millions into voting for, his son Bucky Carlson literally is a paid liar, deputy of something, spokesman or whatever for JD Vance.
For JD Vance.
Press secretary for JD Vance. So how does that work out?
Yep, exactly. And JD Vance, Skull and Bones, I'm sure, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're all, exactly. No, I'm with you. It's an inkling of a thought, and then I'm like, oh, there it is. Because there always is that little subtlety. I still notice the subtle points he makes, but I'm saying to the non-thinking person who is like coming from MAGA and trying to figure out what's going on because they know they've been duped and they're young guys like us, those guys aren't hearing the subtle messages that are being put into the truths. And that's what I'm saying, where it's like, man, you know, I could see that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, because they only know it at surface level, right? And, you know, why would Tucker Carlson expose the Freemasons when he's probably one of them? You know, I mean, he was part of the Pilgrim Society. You know, go look at the famous members of the Pilgrim Society and then understand that Tucker Carlson is also part of that.
Yeah.
So let's get to this question real quick from Neff Hunter, because I always like talking about this. What city are we getting our FIFA false flag? I'm calling the July 3rd match in Kansas City.
That's what I call.
That's what you call. And one in Dallas, same day, 4th of July. Ooh, 4th of July would be big. And isn't that right around the time of the 250th anniversary of America as well?
Yeah, that is this year.
So where do you think we might possibly see some type of false flag?
You know, the Philly right there. I didn't know that there was one in Philly, like literally the day of the 4th. That or Dallas. Wait. Did that say Houston or Dallas? Dallas? See, here's the thing. So Houston or Dallas is like one of those two, because Dallas, where JFK was shot, you know, if you read James Shelby Downard, he talks about how Dallas and Ohio, Cincinnati, are the two places where the New World Order will emerge the most in America. So, you know, it's possible that they could use those locations, or Philly, because, you know, I believe Philly, of course, is where the Liberty Bell was. Or no, was that Pennsylvania? Am I tripping? Or is Philadelphia, right?
Philadelphia, yeah, that's where the bell is.
Yeah, okay. I always get those two confused, Philly and Pennsylvania, you know, when it comes to that. Hey, I wanted to show you this because we've showed this a couple times, but I think it's important while we just are talking about this 250th anniversary. So remember The Economist magazine?
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about this, but we didn't go into this. Here, share that up real quick.
Gotcha. Like I said, remember when conspiracy theorists used to break down this?
Yes.
Yeah. And no one did it this year.
I know,
everybody's too busy getting their slop from someone like Candace Owens.
I know. And I've been talking about the fact that, conspiracy theorists nowadays, quote unquote, the mainstream ones, they're like journalists, man. They aren't like they aren't trying to get critical thinking going
They
by
report.
asking why, like you said, asking why and going into theories when connecting dots. They just instead present information from open source, which is like anybody could fucking do that. But all right, look at this 250th birthday cake. Did you ever notice the fucking handcuff going to the wrist here?
Yeah,
dude,
it's nuts.
Shackled up. I mean, that's
Controlled,
clear
yeah.
indication of where we're going. And then, of course, the petri dish with the brain cells and this game controller with, you remember the petri dish and the brain cells the other day where they taught it to play Doom. So it's very oddly all coming true.
But explain this to me real quick.
So they had brain cells that they put in a petri dish, which feeds on essentially what your body has in it. So it could feed on you, technically. And it played a game, Doom. Like they taught it how to play Doom. So this is the brain hooked up to a video game controller.
Oh yeah.
It's very much all going on. Everything we see on there is going on right now.
Yeah,
so.
when I saw that, it immediately made me think of the sentient world simulation. And this idea that these elites, like we think our reactions are our own reactions. They are so co-opted. Our reactions are so astroturfed.
Yes.
And the way they do this is, I've said this a million times, but I think we live in a world of ops, bots, and psyops. And these dark art sorcerers use these high impact events to manifest the reality they want. And the influencer industrial complex is part of the magic trick. Yes. With their word magic. So these high impact events happens, and that could be anything. It doesn't necessarily even have to be a building going down. There's a number of different things that can happen. And then you have these influencers give their opinions, and then everybody just—
It's your opinion.
Yeah.
Now that's your opinion.
Yeah, that's your opinion.
And and when you understand that our reactions are being generated and pried at, that's when you get into the shit. Like most of my shows lately for this past couple months have been more about what's going on now because of that one point. That's all it takes. They're trying to generate reactions. Okay, if that's true, we need to talk about all the shit that's constantly going on, all these psyops, all the constant current events going on, understanding the fact they're trying to generate a reaction. And what reaction is this trying to generate, that trying to generate? And then obviously we counteract because we have to invert everything they do, just like they invert all the good into bad. We have to invert all their shit. So it's like, hate everybody. Okay, love everybody. Don't trust anybody. Okay, start, go talk to people, try to trust people, connect with people. Don't be isolated. Do the opposite of everything they're trying to get you to do. And so that goes along with this, where it's like, don't react. Let's see what it is they're trying to do. Take a cool head and analyze what's going on. And that is not coming from mainstream conspiracy content at all. That point right there. And that is literally, I feel like the cure to what we're dealing with is invert what they're trying to get you to do. It's against your natural human reaction because that's how it's been designed. But when you can finally get the first instinct to not, go for that human instinct, then you could start to finally fight it.
Yeah. And what the mainstream alternative media is doing is they want you to react, right? And then what they're selling you is another false bill of goods, right? Exactly. Trump, you can't trust him, but guess what? We got Thomas Massey. Oh, guess what? We got Tucker Carlson. And you're like, wait a minute, they're part of the system too. I mean, you go to Thomas Massey, that's the funniest one of all of them. All these conspiracy theorists. And once again, the fact that none of these people, none of them, and God bless, there's a few people I trust that are pretty big, a few, not huge, and they have these people on their shows that are kind of big. And it's like, wait a minute, like a guy like James Lee, right? How is he not questioning this stuff? He's not. He just reports all the BS.
Yes, exactly.
Dude.
And then he of course got fired for talking about Israel allegedly, right, on Crystal and Sagar's show. But now Crystal and Sagar are talking about Israel all the time.
Yeah, and Crystal Sagar made money off the COVID thing. As she's pushing it.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying about Thomas Massey, right there. So think about this. All the people who got it wrong about Trump within the influencer industrial complex, who's their new hero? Thomas Massey. And then you just do a little bit of deep dive. Or Tucker. Yeah. You're like, wait a minute. Thomas Massey was groomed in Demolay International, a Masonic boys organization named after the last Grand Master of the Knights Templars. He has patents in AI augmentation of this new beast system that they're trying to usher in. And the fact that no one in the mainstream media is bringing that up. And they know about it. Trust me, they know about it, and they refuse to bring that up. And if they are real journalists like they say, then you would think they would bring that up, but they don't. So they lose all, credit in they clearly all have blind spots, and it's not because they're dumb. It's because they're selling you a false bill of goods. They're selling you false messiahs and humans when there's only one person who can and will save us, and that's our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Every time. And dude, yeah, exactly. And this is, goes back to whenever I first started my show and I started taking this approach to thinking about all this. It's like, why would Tucker Carlson say Alex Jones predicted 9/11? Knowing damn well that Bill Cooper predicted that shit like a month before Alex Jones. And I know damn well that Tucker Carlson, because he was fully into his career at that time, knew that was going. There's no way he knew that Alex Jones did that and he didn't know about Bill Cooper at that point in time when he was a part of the Republican National Party. Bill Cooper was. So I know he was running in the RNC. So he's running in the same circles as Tucker at that time. I just don't believe it. There's no way.
Yeah,
So,
my mom says, and she used to warn, the worst part about growing up is realizing your parents were pretty much right about everything. But my mom always used to say, you are judged by the company you keep.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the influence industrial complex, I'm sorry, like Candace Owens, like she's actually pushing General Michael Flynn. In fact, her, I swear to God, and General Michael Flynn.
Well, I'm not surprised because the Ian Carroll connection with them, and it's all one big. It's a asymmetrical peer group.
Yeah, and a QAnon commander who actually for most of his career worked out of Fort Bragg in intelligence. That's
Running
where the PSYOP school is. So I'm sorry, everybody who loves Candace Owens, and I'm sure if you're listening to this, you probably don't, or you would have turned off this podcast a while ago. But maybe talk to your friends who do. Like, then why is she aligning herself with clearly someone in intelligence? And that's like a General Michael Flynn person is something you could point to. There's nothing that you need to like, I don't know, dude. So look at who they associate themselves with. Look who they platform. Because I'll tell you one thing. I've often thought about this, not that they would ever have me on their show, but let's just say like someone like Alex Jones said, hey, Ben, you want to come on the show? Knowing what I know, one, I probably wouldn't do it. And if I did do it, the first thing I would say is, Alex, before we start this, I got to get this off my chest. I think you're 100% controlled opposition. I think you are connected to intelligence. I do not trust you. Now, let's start. Because when you push the PSYOP, you give validity to the PSYOP and you become the PSYOP, if you ask me.
Yeah, you definitely, and even so, how could Candace Owens know all that she knows and know about Michael Aquino and then not point out the fact Paul Vallely works at TPUSA? Why isn't she pointing that out? I don't think she's pointed that out. I've pointed that out. Other people have pointed that out, but why isn't she pointing that out, right? So it's like, that's the easy one. I mean, that's there. It's
well, I mean,
is
he Jewish?
Paul Vallely? I don't think so. But
that's probably why she's not pointing it out, because it doesn't help fulfill the prophecy, right? Just like she doesn't point out
it's a part of the narrative filling thing, and also it would show too much of like the TPUSA PSYOP. I think
that's crazy.
Which it's just too much of the underbelly of like what's really going on. I think she wouldn't go that far because I don't know. I mean, that's deep. I mean, they're trying to get her into the fucking Air Force and shit. You saw that?
Who?
Erica Kirk.
They were trying to get her into
trying to get her as like the leader of the Air Force or something, like for the cabinet. Yeah.
Oh, for Trump. What? Who was Trump interviewing today? Jake Paul's brother, or was it Jake Paul?
Oh my God, dude!
That's how you know we're cooked,
bro. So if you've seen Idiocracy, dude, the boxer that's the president. If Jake Paul becomes the president, we are dealing with Idiocracy, a TikTok YouTuber who goes viral and then gets a lot of money and decides, I'm going to start some companies. I'm going to go box. He's probably got crazy connections. And then, of course, he converts to Shabbat with the Shabbat rabbi, converts to Judaism, which, by the way, he is Jewish from his mother's and grandmother's side. So he's been Christian his whole life, and he decides he's going to become like lean into his Jewish heritage now. Then Trump endorses him. Come on, get the fuck out of here.
Well, doesn't he have a giant? He's got like a tattoo that's an all-seeing eye.
Yeah.
Right on his chest.
Right on his chest. Oh, dude, it's so obvious, man. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Gatorade. They're gonna be watering our crops with Gatorade, dude. I mean, come on, man. What the fuck, dog? There's gonna be no water. There's Gatorade in the water fountains.
You know what's worse though? I think it's worse here than in that movie. Nah.
I do too, because you actually have a lot of you still have a lot of murder, killing and genocide, and the growing pains of building that kind of society are still occurring. But we're still very much close to there politically.
Yeah, I'm with you. And that's, we joke about it and we laugh about it. And maybe that's a coping thing for me, at least, because, the actual, results of what is happening, carrying out the agenda is probably some of the saddest things that I've ever seen on so many different levels, right? Just talk about the war effort, just the killing of innocent people, destroying of people's cities.
Dude, Neff Hunter said he was there. I'm so sorry. Neff Hunter said he was there at the endorsement of Jake Paul.
Oh, he was there?
Shit. No shit. He said he took off work to go, huh? Am I tripping? Is that what you're talking about, Neff?
Are you in DC, dude? Are you in the belly of the beast?
No, it was in Kentucky. He's at Hebron, Kentucky. He went to go there. That's crazy. No wonder he was sweating through that fucking suit. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't even know what I was saying.
Sorry, I got distracted by that because I was like, "Whoa, this guy went." Yeah, if your mother's Jewish, then you are Jewish. Yeah, I mean,
well, that's actually that's all BS, though, if you ask me. Because that's from the Talmud. That's not actually from the Bible. I actually looked into that. And if you actually do look up the lineages of the Israelites, there's plenty of the prophets even that took non-Israelite wives, and you could say Moses was one of them. So does that mean that all of Moses' kids were not, Jews? No. I think that's actually, I could be wrong about this. I have to look into it more, but I think within the line of Jesus, there are like 5 people. I don't know if that's on the mother's side or in the father's side, because clearly Jesus's earth dad isn't his real dad, right? We know God the Father. I believe in the miracle birth, but there's actually on one of the lineages, there's 5 people that were kind of grafted in to the Israelites, right? So I wonder if they say, well, unless your mother is Jewish, which you don't find in the Bible, but in the Talmud, then you're not Jewish. And that's just a way of denying, who Jesus was at the time. Now, he wasn't the real Messiah. He's got Gentile blood in him.
I see.
You see what I'm saying?
That's how they were able to kind of, okay, that makes sense.
Of course. I don't know.
The Talmud is the anti-Bible, so it makes a lot of sense that they would do that to try to rectify any kind of lineage, giving him any lineage to that. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I do think it's interesting. That's what I looked into. So yeah. And it's amazing how much these people, when you get into the doctrine of every single group, it's crazy. The verses that they twist in order to create their ideology. And you go and you read it, and then you're like, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense. And we can even go with like the Sabbath, right? And all the rules that, the Jewish people have for the Sabbath. And there's like a whole cottage industry of ways to get around it and stuff like that. But then when you actually read what the Bible says about the Sabbath, it's pretty vague, right? Don't do this and that, but that's about it. And then they add up all these rules on top of it. And you could even say that
was why Jesus said that you guys, I'm pretty sure that was like the main point Jesus had, which was you guys just kept going and adding all these laws and these man-made laws on top of God's law he gave you. And so I'm going to inscribe the law into your heart. And so everybody could be, God's, chosen.
Yeah.
Biblical was talking about, he was talking about a spot here where, woe to the idle shepherd that loveth the flock. The sword shall be upon his arm, and upon his right eye, his arm shall be clean, dried up, and his right eye shall be utterly dark. And he referenced the fact that the pagan god, I think it was Odin, but he said Thor had his eye destroyed, and so did Horus. I think it was Odin. He had that right eye taken. Yeah, because Odin had an eye taken out, and I believe something had to do something with the oracles, or The Eye of Horus, it's the same thing, but I think it was Odin.
What were you?
it was
What?
both of them.
No
both of 'em.
apologies, biblical hitman. What were you throwing out that we didn't talk about?
I think it was the things I just went through. He's not. Yeah, you're
Oh.
not being arrogant at all. That's why I read them.
Oh,
I love it.
dude, like I said, if you're listening and you're going to rewatch this, check out the Biblical Hitman podcast.
Fuck yeah.
It's definitely one of my favorite podcasts as a believer, as a Christian. Because I'll tell you what, a lot of the conspiracy stuff that I used to get into when I first started getting into this, it's less interesting to me now, just because I like things through a biblical worldview. And he's got a lot of great guests on there, and we are often on there. So check us out there.
Yeah, I love
We
it.
do roundtables and stuff
Great
like
guy.
that.
Just met him recently. He's awesome.
Yeah, good man. All right, we're coming up about almost 2 hours. Anything you want to close with today?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited to have you on and get deeper into this exposure gate aspect of everything. That's why I kind of stayed a little bit away from that, because I want to get deep into that with you, especially from the aspect of you know, I want to get into this segment more about like what we were kind of, I guess we discussed a little bit of it tonight, like the whole
Yeah.
controlled opposition, the you know, Mockingbird industrial complex that's kind of bringing us to this exposure gate kind of culmination of the New World Order. And so yeah, I'm real excited to get into that. So yeah, I mean, just check me out there to be listening to Ben and I get into that. We'll be doing that next couple days or something. So
Yeah. And then also, I guess what I would like, I like to end everything on a spiritual tip, because this is a spiritual battle. And,
Mhm.
you know, the earth is about to have a cloud of darkness over it if it's not already here. I think Paul calls it a crooked generation, right? We are living in a sea of darkness, a crooked generation. And what are we supposed to do? We're not supposed to pick sides. We're not to follow earthly agendas. We're supposed to abide in the spirit and be a light to the nations, right? Wherever we are in the eschatological timeline, right?
Mhm.
You know what doesn't change? What God expects out of us, right? And that's a relationship with him. That's abiding in the spirit. And guess what? Abiding in the spirit is what's going to keep you sane, right?
Yep.
Because it's going to go nuts. It's going to go nuts. And we're supposed to bring people into the fold. So as we're speaking truth, if it takes away from the Great Commission, be careful, right? We gotta lead with love. And I know what we see on the world stage, what we see in the news. I think Top Lobster from Nephilim Death Squad, shout out to Top Lobster from Nephilim Death Squad. He made the point. He's like, I'm starting to feel hatred in my heart. It's a battle, he was saying. I don't want to put too many words in it. And that's what the devil wants us to do. And guess what? When we got hatred in our heart too, and I'm not saying that Top Lobster is having hatred in his heart, but this is what he was pointing out, which I thought was an astute observation. We got to lead for love, because if the goal is to speak truth, ultimately to bring people back into the fold, then if we don't lead with love and we lead with hate, guess what? It's not going to work, and we're then a disservice to God. So that's how I want to leave it.
100%. Yeah, it gets back to that whole inverting what they do, you know, to make everything right. And you know, I'll probably be hammering on that a lot, because I think that is a big truth in this whole thing. I was on Alex from Nuggets News. He's a Australian podcaster, and yeah, we were talking yesterday, and that's kind of like something I just kind of was thinking about. I was like, yeah, dude, that's really the answer. It's just invert everything they're messaging you to do, you know, whether it's trust this, hate that, believe it, all of that. So just invert it, and of course, if as long as it aligns with what everything you were just kind of laying out too. But yeah, I think that's the solution. Yeah, so yeah,
Perfect.
great
So
time, dude. I fucking love it.
Love it too. Hey, if you're watching from Instagram, do me a favor and check me out on YouTube. Although I love that you check me out here. And hey, listen, if you're going to listen from Spotify or watch from BitChute, shout out to all you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a good day, and God bless. Actually, do you want to see if there's any more questions or not? Good day and God bless. I got to run. So have a good day.
Peace out, everybody.
Peace out.